Let's take a look at Fangio's defense and what makes them so good. But teams like the Packers can kind of learn from either from the Chiefs standpoint or even looking at our defense and looking at how you can improve. Now, certainly not everybody's got to run this kind of style, which is really a too high bend but don't break defense, at its core. And it's predicated, at least in this iteration of it, is you have to have really strong play at the linebacker position, but ultimately you have to be able to get it home with 4, which I think at this point, watching this game, everybody knows that's what they were able to do. The Chiefs start out here in a trips look, and I'll be honest with you, they just do a little orbit motion here, I think, with Worthy. Yeah, they do. Okay, they should have stayed in this look the entire game. You got a 6 in the box. You got an outside press that you don't know who's going to drop. They're probably, as you look at this now, they have to play with their linebacker depth. They're going to be late into the box anyways. But this RPO look really keeps their defensive line off of Mahomes even for a split second. He ends up making a great play here with a no-look pass in the slot. But it's really all predicated because more often than not, this player stayed at 5 yards the entire night and didn't move and basically said, we're not going to give you the quick stuff, and we think our defensive line is going to get home first. Now, because they ran the orbit, Cooper John plays up. They get the no-look. One of their better plays of the night, honestly, until the second half. Basic structure that they're going to run the entire night. Whether you're looking at this as Kelce being the strength and they're running it over, they're running an under G. One way or another, it's a 42 defense, 2 safeties up. Very comfortable playing this because the quality of not only at the linebacker level with an all-pro Zach Baum, but obviously so many great players at the defensive line. But having said that, the way that Nolan Smith plays the RPO look here, squeezing down, staying square to the line of scrimmage, not running, not bolting down and trying to take out Mahomes. This is all things that they're gathering information on that first play. Great no-look pass to see what happens. Now, we start moving forward here with the second play. And this is these are plays in the game where you just have to make a determination if this is going to work and they're going to be able to block that, or they're going to be able to block or break that tackle, then this could be a different kind of game. So he goes motion, brings the back into the backfield, checks it out. Now, they're running an RPO again where they've got a pulling guard and they've really got a 7 in the box look at here. You can just see the space that's allocated for the safety to come down. They know that, but they also have a tight receiver, so they're going to be able to crack that play. So they have everybody accounted for. This is, you're looking at it from the perspective of, let's say Ahman Green. If Ahman looks at that, he's dying, absolutely dying to get this look. 6 in the box. You got a guy coming down, but you've got a nasty receiver on our left. The offense is right. They can come into the box and block 32. So this is easily blocked. And unfortunately, and these guys do a really good job with Philly of turning these double teams into single blocks. And, they're supposed to have a double here, but really this he goes right into and just drives that right tackle, dominated those tackles the entire night. But there are plays here. I mean, you've got a couple problems if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. This might be the biggest one. He's not going to be able to hold up. Maybe in some iteration of Travis Kelce, maybe he could, but certainly this was not the day that he was going to be able to hold up against any of those guys from a physicality standpoint. He really didn't seem like he was willing to. But you've just got a complete domination at all these positions by these defensive linemen. And so this looks on paper, if you showed me the screenshot 100 times, I'd say run the football. They make a determination to throw out to the slot, even though they don't have the slot defender blocked. Dijon makes a great play. And if this breaks and goes for 10 or goes for 20, goes for a touchdown, you look at this game differently, and perhaps the Chiefs do as well because they think they have something out here. But they essentially get tackled for no gain. It changes the calculation. So we got 3rd and 9. They go empty. 3 to the bottom side here. They go single high safety here. And they're, again, look down here. They're looking at basically saying our rookie slot is going to be able to cover the all-pro and stick on him long enough where that pass rush is going to get in Mahomes' face. As we look right here, he's stuck. Every single receiver's stuck. And now we got pressure from the left defensive end on the right tackle. He's got to start scooting around. And this is, we'll go to the end zone copy. This is proxy for the entire evening. All they had to do was take care of that first 5 yards, really, where they can have contact, get their hands on. And some of this stuff is like, looks like a good pocket. There's just no, excuse me. There's just nowhere to throw. We go 2nd and 5 here, next series. They got a cluster look or a bunch look down on the bottom. Really, if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they look like they're shifted over to Kelsey with Zach Baum. Over front on the defense with the G look because they're still a nickel. And, why does this play not work? 2nd and 5. You got your tight end kind of in air quotes. And this is, I think as long as anybody's been playing the game, this is traditionally a downhill play for that backside split flow player. He gets in the way. And this is one of the first runs of the game, unfortunately. So many things that are going on here that are suspicious. This is usually a quiet crowd. But you look at the eyes here and where he's going. I mean, if this Philadelphia Eagles team's been watching film and they've seen that before and communicating it, it's just such an easy thing to look at. And, realistically, with the flow of these guys, and whether it's because he's looking or because these two guys are just really good, the flow that they're using here, ultimately you're supposed to get guard, tackle up to Baum, and then backside up to 42. And they're actually just going to the wrong players because they can't even get to the guys they're supposed to. Great job by the Philadelphia linebackers. Again, there's some keys that are easy to read, but you still got to make that play. So we can do another 3rd down situation. And this is one of the plays of the game that what could have been. So let's watch this. This is Xavier Worthy, number 1. Their speed player, speed merchant. And he's going to be matched up against 53, who's had a great year. But let's face it, those guys aren't equal in everything, and speed is one of them. They hike the football. This is Gonzo. This play is over. If he can get the ball off, this is an easy touchdown down the sideline. Talking about right here. Obviously, we have eyes on the quarterback, so maybe he's not dropping because of that. But the reality is, if we go back to the pocket now, this is a play that should work. I don't know how you block this realistically. That's too fast at that position. I feel, Joe Thuney's an all-pro at left guard. He's not at left tackle. And one of the things you have to do, because you're so worried, you got to back. So, interesting point, for me at least. Your left tackle gets hurt. You move your left guard out, so you're making that position, you would think by default worse, because you would imagine your left tackle plays left tackle better than your left guard, or maybe your backup does. But you're also making this position worse. And in this particular game, that probably matters as much as anything else. You see Thuney with his arms out inviting that bull rush. He's worried in part about the game that they've been running. But you see the stab and what ends up happening, because if I'm Josh Sweat and I see that, if I see both numbers, arms out wide, I mean, if I'm in high school, anything, what am I going to do? I'm going to bull rush that guy. We're going to go stab, press, make him run around. Ends up being a nothing throwaway play. So we got 2nd and 8 coming out here. Could be a running situation. I think they forgot what they did on first down. One thing to note is there's a huge stat line going around that the Eagles didn't pressure the entire game. That's not true. It's just they didn't pressure more than 4. So right here you're going to see they're bringing their middle linebacker, but they're also dropping their defensive ends. So I think they're effectively only bringing 3 players here. Yep. And again, just giving away these different looks. Now there's nothing open because you got 8 on 4 in the back. Even 7 on 4 if you don't want to count Sweat. He's just waiting for that running back to get out, who he probably should hit right now, which I think he does. But you just look at the need to extend plays by Mahomes against this rush. You know, they've got everybody booked up, but for whatever reason, and sometimes quarterbacks do this, he's exiting the pocket just to, I don't even know if he senses that he needs to buy time. It hasn't been that kind of game as of yet. But he's looking at this like, I know I can throw when I roll to my right. You know, everybody knows that. This is a huge thing with, you know, playing against Mahomes. You really don't want to let him exit the pocket to his right. You'd much rather have him exit to the pocket to his left. But he gets on the move, little play. You can just see the pursuit of the defense, which is really stellar. 1st and 10 here. We've got a 2x2 with a tight end attached. Back offset to the right. Motion into a nasty look. Now this means it could be a run. Could be a run to some kind of crosser, which they are. So again, they go, you know, these are gratuitous play actions. Look, this is only play action. I'm not sure who you're going for. You see you get the linebacker a little bit, but really he's just ended up blocking that running back. But let's just look at, you know, why does this play not work? You know, the tight end position when I was growing up I thought it was the best position in the world, because you got to get your hands dirty, you got to block, you got to be really physical, and you got to catch touchdowns. You know, wave to the crowd, you know, high five your teammates, because you're making big plays in the passing game. So I thought it was always the best thing. It's changed and evolved over the years. Gronkowski was really the guy who I think in this last generation put the signature on it, and George Kittle, the way he plays, certainly, although it's different even than maybe the way Gronk did things, but this is, to me, a completely different position. And you know, there's just this, you know, obviously laid off the ball. I don't know if this is supposed to be a tight end screen. He's just thinking about that too much, but you're just looking from a stance standpoint. How would you even get out of your stance to make a play there? And because of that, why are you in that stance to begin with? Because this just turns into a negative play. You don't give the guard a chance to get across. Xavier Worthy can't do anything about it. I mean, there's just nothing that can be done, and it's just a simple. I mean, you're in a stance. Even if you are off late, you're in a stance that doesn't allow you to have any success. So, go to the next play. We look at this again, and let's just start by looking at the coverage. We talked about this earlier. They're very comfortable standing on, you know, effectively standing on that line in that slot and not moving, because he looks there for that quick slant, that out. He tries, you know, they try to press off and just turn. They'll run some sort of choice route, and those guys did a great job, I think, of sticking to their position and not making that initial window obvious. And what happens is, because they do that, you know, they basically get beat everywhere here. So they've got Kelsey getting beat by Sweat over on the right side. And he's going to get help from Pacheco, who doesn't do much. You got to use your hands. And then, unfortunately, you know, Athuni, who, again, all-pro left guard, but just a different kettle of fish out there. Turns his shoulders to the sidelines early. And you can see where Mahomes' eyes are going right here. He wants to throw. And as we remember, that window's not open. Sorry. That window is not open because that slot receiver's standing, and we also have the linebacker shifted over to that side. So gets in trouble, get another sack, so it's 2 in a row. We go 3rd and 16, they go bunch. Everything's close in. They want to fight for that real estate space. And this is a designed rollout. There you go, gun. You got the tight end blocking in. It's actually a really nice design. I'll show this on the other side. But as they run this, effectively what's a flood, they got an out, got an over, they got here, and they got in the flat. You got one player, because they've got so many extra across the back line here, that can read eyeballs. And he just reads eyeballs. Ends up making a great play. Now, as we watch this is this split suggests that you're going to get a one-on-one with the tackle. Tackle blocks down, and they're trying to pin this guy. This could be a really hard block for that tight end, because, ultimately Sweat could go straight up field right here. This play is over. We might have got lucky here. They might rerun a TE. And as we see, reading eyes. Just a fantastic job. 1st and 10. We got the bunch motion. I think you got 2 tight ends in the game now. Kelsey's on the line. They go across. Orbit again. Try to run underneath. And I think this play's been shown a ton, but there's a couple things going on here that are just pretty gnarly. So they run the orbit. This is actually right off the Green Bay Packers playbook. They saw the Packers run this against them somewhat effectively. This is Jacobs. But they got to pull the right guard. And you got to give credit where credit's due. This is damn. He just took that man's soul. And listen, you play long enough, it happens to everybody, but it sure as shit happened right there. Now, you got a double team here. You have outside help. You can't miss on the 2-eye and fall to the ground. That's the real problem with the play. Why things don't end up working. And they're running this like a true stutter play, where you got a guard pull, a backside lead block that goes up into the play side linebacker, and then you fall through the running back. But boy, oh boy, you can watch from this angle. It's kind of fun to watch. That is just demonizing. All right, next play, 2nd down. Come back, and they're like, hell, let's give it a shot to the other side. Brandon Graham, step on up. So now we run I think this play is really difficult to run really an open side gap or open side counter play. So you're effectively pulling your guard, and you're going double. You got to go to here, and you're going to have Kelsey go back here to try to pick this guy up. And you got the hinge on the backside, okay? The problem is with this play, when you're so worried about how good that player is that you forget that you have play side linebacker, you no longer have a play. He's going to the wrong guy. And it sounds stupid. It's just that simple. You watch Kelsey on the backside. They're going to go out and come down here. And he's going for 53. He's just going to, look, you get hit hard the play before, and it's like you're going to the wrong guy now. It's a problem. That can happen. Got 3rd and 9. Bunch out. You can kind of running for your life here. And it's you can see a 3rd and 9 play. And what I want you to notice is through here and this player, they're not they're just going to not almost flat foot read this and read eyes until guys are past them. There's just no free windows like you see in a lot of Mahomes throws. And so he's getting back to, and obviously you're getting back here to snap the ball. Both players in two eyes. I think you got the center holding up 42. So he's not really doing anything. And so you have 4 one-on-ones. They end up running games. And again, it's not like this isn't well blocked. This goes down as a sack, but it's like, where are you going? And this is what happens when anybody gets heated up. Even the best in the world, to get heated up, they don't. This is, that's not what you want to see. Don't get me wrong. But there's a pocket to throw this football. Sometimes when the quarterback gets heated up, no matter who it is, you end up just taking these sacks where it's almost unbelievable. I think this is the last drive in the first half. This is second to last drive. So let's just watch. Well, let's go back. Again, we talked about Zach Baum, 53 here. And just watch the eyes. What's he being influenced by? He sees the inside release up here. He knows that we've got the back coming to the outside in the flat. And he just sits. And you can see with the speed to power, and this is, there's nothing you can do about this. You have to be able to sit on the bull rush, and that's, we talk about building confidence in O-linemen. You got to be able to sit on the bull first and foremost. But if you're at the 4-yard line, this guy is, with ears pulled back. He goes right in, ends up affecting the throw. And it's almost like looking from this angle, as you see this thing playing out. He's waiting. It's like, I got to anticipate that throw. And that play where you want to shuffle over and maybe make something happen, it's just when your feet are set, you throw the pick. When your feet aren't set, you get outside the pocket or you get sacked because you're moving around too much. It was a no-win situation, certainly, for them. So this is the last drive of the half. You got trips left. And he ends up making a play. But let's look again at the way that Fangio is playing defense here. So they run quarters to the bottom. They're trapping the inside. And they're just running 2 off the top of the field. So they kind of bracket Kelce. When he goes in, the safety ends up taking him. Dijon switches and plays in that hole. But they're doing such a good job of getting contact here and then dropping for the whole shot. They're getting multiple bodies on Kelce or around Kelce. And so you're taking away the most obvious throws. He gets back, gets somebody in his face. We'll see it here from the end zone. They got the chip out here against Sweat. And he just decides to run. Unfortunately, right guard who's had you don't see this very often, by the way. You don't see the jersey getting pulled anymore with all the tape jobs that we started doing that kind of, I thought, took that away, but Carter gets him pretty bad. Ends up giving up the holding call. So we go 1st and 20. Thought this was interesting. So we've been talking about how well these guys were doing at just staying on this line. And this is one of the first times. And look at the difference between Jean, the slot, and then how we're doing out here as far as reaction time, just being ready to play. and standing your ground. You see how slow they are to react in the slot. So because we backpedal a little bit more than they have been, ends up giving up the double slant look. Almost picks up 10. That puts him in that third down situation where I think that's where Hopkins drops the ball. That's all she wrote for the half. I think at that point it's 24-0 again. 65 is a really good player who had a bad game. A lot of these guys had a bad game. But this guy, I mean, look at this. Whoop. That's just all kinds of different. His ability to move laterally, his size, tough.